Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my kitchen. I'm sorry there's a bit of shadow today. I think it's because it's later in the day. It's about 5:30 on Thursday afternoon and I'm bringing my babies to you on Theme Thursday. And probably most of you know that the theme is pastel colours. Now, of course, when I went to look for some nice pastel colours for the babies, what do you think I found? Lots and lots and lots of options, so it made it really hard to decide. It's easier if it's something tricky and there's only one option, but I just had so many different things. But anyway, this is what I've chosen, and they're all in long sleeves because it's a wee bit cooler today. It's not warm, but it's a wee bit cooler, so I thought that'd be alright in long sleeves. So let me describe to you first what each is wearing. Will I start with Jonty? Yeah, why not? So he's wearing a little bodysuit with long sleeves. It's white and it's got a sweet little trim around the neck, and on the front it's a bit hard for you to see, but he's got a blue deer. I've tried to straighten his bodysuit out so you can see it, but it's pretty tricky because he's not a big boy, so there's not a big area to show you his deer. Let me see if that's any better. Is that any better? So it's a blue deer and it's very sweet. It's got a grey nose and little grey eyes and white inside his ears with beautiful dark blue stitching around the edge of the white. And he's got a blue and white, a very pale blue, like a real pastel blue, and white striped single knot beanie hat on. And he's got his dummy. I find when I'm setting the babies up it's such a fiddle, it's better for me to leave their dummies in and for them to fall asleep while I fiddle and fuss around to get everything just right. So that's what Jonty's wearing. That little bodysuit is made by Marquise, which is an Australian brand, and that you've seen these little sets before because I've had them on probably a year ago or so. Anyway, so that's my Jonty, and he's fast asleep and he's leaning on his big sister Lottie. And on the other side of Lottie is Pippa, and she's also leaning on her big sister in a very big way. And she's asleep too with her dummy, her Peter Rabbit pink dummy in her mouth. I forgot to say that Jonty's dummy is his Peter Rabbit dummy that their Auntie Suzanne in England sent them, of course, being Peter Rabbit. So Pippa's little bodysuit is also it's the same as Jonty's with a lovely little trim around the sleeves and the neck, but she's got a pink rabbit on hers, which is, I've tried to show that too, but really you can't see it. It's a pink bunny and it's got a little round silver tail. It's very sweet. And she has also got her striped beanie on, but hers is in pink and white stripe. It's a single knot beanie. And she's fast asleep on her big sister. And so that leaves Lottie's outfit to describe to you. She's in the middle, and Lottie has got a cream, it's almost white, but it is different to the twins, and it's a cream long sleeve t-shirt, and she's got like a grey bunny in the middle of the t-shirt, and the grey bunny is just sitting nicely, and around her, or him, is a wreath of flowers that have been embroidered on. The rabbit's embroidered as well, whereas the twins' animals are printed on with some embroidery trim. But Lottie's is all embroidered. So in the wreath that goes around the rabbit, it's done in a grey. There are silver berries and pink leaves and grey leaves, and it's just gorgeous. And she's wearing a pale pink nappy cover as well. So they're all in pastel. I've added a little cream bonnet to Lottie, so she's similar to the twins with her head covered. She doesn't have her dummy in. She doesn't really use a dummy much. I've got one here if you want to see what she looks like. But I love her mouth, so I tend not to put the dummy on. So I'll just show you, see what you think. I'll have it straight, my darling, okay? There we are. That's what she looks like with the dummy. So that's a little nut dummy or nook dummy. It's white and it's got a golden heart and some writing underneath. Let me see what it says. It says, "My first nook." So that's what it says. So there we are. There's the three angels in their pastels, which was a really, really hard choice. I could have just gone all pink and all blue, and I just really didn't feel like it, so I went with this compromise. Yeah, so there you have it, my 3 pastel babies. I don't know if you've seen Kimberly from Kimberly's Cocoons latest video, but in it she mentioned that she'd been shopping with her mum in a lovely antique centre where there were a few different stalls set up, and she said that she saw a beautiful French pram, a doll pram that was very similar to a silver cross. And when she said that, I knew exactly what she was talking about, because I think I have one, and it's probably what she meant. So I'll show you mine. I've got it right here. And it is French, and it's beautiful. Let me see if you can see that. Can you see it there? I don't want it to fall off the stove. No, there we are. It's okay. Yep, you can see that. So it is very similar, isn't it, to a silver cross. The shape's different, but the body of the pram is a white metal, and the hood is a beautiful navy woven effect. It's not actually woven because it is a vinyl type fabric, but it's an old pram. It's probably from I'm not 100% sure when they made them, probably about the 1950s, I think. It's got a silver handle, and it's got the little silver mechanism on the side of the hood to lower it. Now, I didn't pay as much as what Kimberly said. She saw one for $600. This was considerably less because it has its beautiful, that apron that they have on the bottom of the prams. It's missing its apron. Many of them have been lost over time, but you can still get them complete, but they're more expensive that way. So I've had this for, 15 years at least, something like that. Let me move it across a bit. It's not quite in the middle. Let's hope if I do that it doesn't fall. I know what the problem is. We've got Lottie's feet in the middle. There we go. Now, I've got a little doll who sits in this pram, but I'll just show you what it looks like inside. There you are. There you can see in there. I've got some little bedding that actually isn't usually in the pram. I took that off a little bed that I've got just so it looked nice to show you. So that's the inside of the pram, and the hood is a white inside there. And now I'll show you the baby who always sits in this pram. And when I went to get this ready, this poor baby had an arm that was fallen off, but I've managed to temporarily put it back on. So here's this darling baby. It's a hard plastic with moulded and painted hair, big brown eyes staring at us. And in this baby, which I think might be a boy, I'm not sure, we'll call him a boy, he's holding a little bottle, a moulded bottle in his moulded hand. Can you see that? And that's in his right hand, and it's his left arm that's let go. These are put together with rubber bands on the inside. So there's a rubber band that goes across from one arm to the other. There's another one for the legs, and I'm not sure, probably the head's moulded. Okay, so the head's all in one piece there. It's not separate. So the rubber band obviously broke since I've last picked up this little doll. So I can't fix that myself with one hand, but it's actually a very easy fix if you've got a little hook thing, which I have several of them to fix dolls. So I usually get one of my daughters to do that for me, because I often discover arms and legs and even heads off. If there's a doll that you haven't picked up for a while, it's sitting there quite balanced, and you pick it up and the elastic or the rubber has perished, and so the doll's in bits. But this is a sweet little doll, maybe 3 inches high or 4 inches, with little beautiful sweet legs with moulded knees, and the typical socks of the age, which look like very finely crocheted socks. And then these kind of shoes are called leatherette little shoes, and he's wearing a romper, which I just love. This is all his original outfit. It's it used to be white. It's a bit off-white now. Off-white and blue stripes, and there's a little a pale blue ribbon tied around his waist, and tiny rickrack around the neck. Don't know if you can see that. It's very sweet. Let me show you the back of him. Hopefully his arm doesn't fall off. Oh, now his other arm's fallen off. Now, don't get a fright, everybody, but his arm with the bottle just fell off. So that's the back of his little romper and the back of him. He's got very sweet moulded hair. Look at that shape. I just love moulded hair. And look at the little creases at the sides of his neck. Isn't that gorgeous? He doesn't have anything written on him, so I don't know where he was made. Can't tell. But I would guess Germany because of it's just something about it. This is a beautiful type of plastic it is, which you can't tell just by looking at it, but I can tell from the feel. And the fact that the hair's so beautifully moulded and perfectly painted. And, or just things like that. I don't know, you just sort of get used to looking at these things after a while. Now let me just show you the interior of the pram again while he's out. And I'll get my daughter to fix his arm, so don't worry about that. Now there's the inside. You can see how gorgeous that is. I'll turn it around so you can see the other side. Doesn't have any markings on it unless it's got something written at the bottom, but both sides are the same with a metal white body and the beautiful navy hood, which I just love. I wish it had the apron as well, but you know, you can't have everything, and it is quite old. So dare I flip it upside down? Yes. Oh, there we go. There's the brand. Okay, let's see if we can say made in France, modèle déposé. That's really bad French and completely wrong, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. It's D-O-U-C-E-T, made in France. And it's not, there we go, that's focused now. So that's just on, not quite on the underneath. I'll show you, there's the underneath, there's nothing written there. So there we go, that's the beautiful pram. I moved that to the side because I also wanted to tell you a couple of other things. First of all, I want to tell you that Jen rang me this morning, and guess what? She finally heard from the manager of the toy shop, and she didn't apologise to Jen. Unfortunately, Jen was at work. She's a preschool teacher. We used to work together, actually, and so she was quite busy, but she gave her full attention to this woman, and the manager wasn't forthcoming, didn't apologise, didn't say, yeah, I can see what you mean, and it doesn't seem to be fit for purpose. She said, oh, well, you wouldn't want to cut all the pieces out at once. Jen said, no, you would cut one piece out, or a child would cut one piece out and then not want to cut any more out because it's too difficult. But anyway, in the end, the woman said, well, we do like to keep our customers happy. And Jen said, well, I'm not happy. So the woman said that if Jen sent her an email, she would arrange for a refund of $20. But Jen said she's completely lost interest. And I said, I understand, it's not the money you're after. You just would have liked them to acknowledge what you were telling them. And she didn't actually get that. And there was no way, unless Jen would have really pushed, the manager wasn't going to offer any solution. So that's the end of that story, which isn't all that happy, but not all that sad either. And the other thing I really wanted to tell you was that I did notice a comment on someone's video. It may have been one of Suzanne's videos, of Suzanne's babies, that there was a comment left by Sue Drinkwater, and her new channel name that she's using now is called The Hobbit House. And that's 3 separate words, each with a capital letter at the front, and Hobbit is H-O-B-B-I-T. So she hasn't got any, what's the wording they use? Oh, this channel has no content, but you can still subscribe. And so why don't you just hop over and find The Hobbit House, subscribe to her, and then if she ever does put up a video, hopefully she will, we'll be ready and we'll get to see it. So that's a bit of good news, potentially good news, isn't it? Now, something else that Kimberly mentioned in her video that I found really interesting, because it's right up my alley, and that was that she was talking about salesman samples. Now, I don't know if you've heard about them, but what they were an exact replica of whatever it was that the salesman was selling. You know, they used to sell door to door. And so they would carry this miniature version of the full-size thing. And often apprentices made the small things. If they were wooden, then they learnt how to do tiny dovetail joints and beautiful handles, all sorts of things in miniature. These days, though, if it's an intricate chest of drawers or a beautifully made table, they go for a ton of money. I don't have anything like that, but I just love salesman samples. I love them more than I love miniatures, really. I do love miniatures, but miniatures are made of any type of material. It doesn't have to be what the original object was made of, and it's just made to look like the large size object. So let me show you something I have that may have been a salesman's sample, a very simple one, and this is an American brand, and it's a rubbish bin. I don't know if that's aluminium or tin, probably. Yes, it would be tin. So it's got a ridged body, and the label is yellow, and it says Chief Metalware, and it's got a proper rubbish bin lid, and that says Chief on it. So I've got that, and I love this. I know that's nuts, isn't it? But I absolutely love things like this, things that are identical to the large things, but just made small. So it could have been a salesman's sample, or maybe not. But there's a little handle on the side there. But I think it's beautiful. I know that's nuts, but that's me. And something else I've got. So I've got all sorts of things in my doll room. Now this is just a thing I absolutely adore. Look at that. Is the camera going to show you properly? It's still a bit blurry. See if I come in close, what it does with that. It's a little metal talcum powder tin. Oh, there you go. Did you see that? There we are. And the picture on the front is a little baby holding actually the same bottle of talc with her picture on the front of that. It's one of those kind of infinity drawings, and it says Colgate's Baby Talc, a real boric powder, Colgate and Company, New York, USA, and then it's got registered US patent off, meaning office, I guess. And look, it's actually got powder inside. Every time I touch this, I get a bit of powder on me. It's got the little holes in the top. It's amazing. And let me show you the back. It's got some writing, Colgate's Baby Talc. It's made from the formula of an eminent physician in charge of a baby hospital. It is real boric powder, soothing and softening. It is the same as our other talc powders except the perfume, which is less pronounced and may therefore be preferred for nursery use. Isn't that just beautiful? So the body of this tiny little powder tin, which is metal, you hear that, is like that kind of 1940s sort of blue colour, which is it's very hard to describe. It's an old-fashioned, muted sort of, oh goodness me, bluey greeny colour. And then on that is a circle with a picture of the baby on it. And the top of the tin is a gold colour, so a brass kind of colour. The top of the, what would you call this, the little powder container. And the whole thing is like, it's not circular, it's not a cylinder, it's squashed. So the base is like an oval shape. And this is one of the things I treasure. Absolutely love this. So this is my favourite kind of thing to have dotted around my doll room. Just little things that are very, very precious. I love that. And what else can I show you? Oh, look at this. I'll show you this. This is a teeny tiny book. Teeny tiny book. These things I just pick up when I see them, which is, it could be years and years ago. They were, all of these things. I've been in my doll room for a long time. And this book has a leather cover. The whole thing's, I think it says in the back, 3.5 inches by, probably 2 inches. And its title is Victoria, the Good Queen and Empress. And it has a little crown, a seal of a crown above that label, above that title, and it's in gold. The camera's not picking up the tiny detail in it. Let me just show you inside. Oh, what's that say? I don't know. It's got something written on it, somebody's name, but it says Victoria, the Good Queen and Empress. And if we can get one page turned, look at that. This is a real book, a real tiny book. There. It says Her Majesty the Queen, photographed at Buckingham Palace on the 60th year of her reign. That's a fairly well-used picture, isn't it? I think we've all seen that one where she's sitting, looking pretty glum, but not completely in black. She's got some lace over her, and a crown, and her right hand is tucked under her chin. Now, I went to look when this was actually printed, and I'll show you that page because it's really interesting. Hopefully the camera will let us see. It says, first edition June 18th, I beg your pardon, 1897. Second edition the same date. Third edition October 1900. Fourth edition January 1901. Dedicated to children in all places of Her Imperial Majesty's dominions. So that's probably when, I don't know if England was at its height of its colonisation, but it certainly had a lot of colonies at that stage, Australia included, which might be how this book got to Australia. And then let me show you, there have the little chapters there. The Child Princess, The Girl Queen, Wife and Mother, Later Years, the closing scene. So there are a couple of pictures in here. Let me see if I can find one. Oh, this is a sweet one. Look at that. It's all in black and white, of course, and this is in the Wife and Mother chapter. It says, The Prince Consort and Princess Royal in 1842 by Sir Edwin Landseer. That's, I guess, who painted that painting. So that would be one of their children, I assume. Isn't that just beautiful? And the whole thing is edged in gold. You know how they used to do that? The edges of the... Let me just see how I can show you this. Can you see that? It's all gold. Each page is edged in gold. So that's a beautiful little treasure I have. Little tiny book. Oh, let me show you the spine. There we go, in black. It says Victoria, and then R.I. Oh, that might be Regina. I'm not sure what that stands for. So that's that. And now let me show you a real miniature so you can see what I've been talking about. This is a little bassinet that one of my friends at the club makes. It's miniature. It's probably, 3 inches maybe long, and it's beautifully made. Tiny detail, absolutely tiny, weeny detail. It's got a net over the crook, and I bet this crook doesn't wriggle around like the crook I have. And it's all woven. It looks as though it's woven in what you would do some crocheting or knitting, some cotton, fairly thick cotton type yarn. Don't know if you can see that because the camera's not that great, is it? But let me show you all the details that are inside this little bassinet that my friend, her name is Dawn, and she makes lots of beautiful miniatures. She's made this little blanket or coverlet, which is a beautiful pale blue pastel, perfect for today, lawn with some tiny lace around the outside, beautifully sewn. You can't see the stitches. And then she's threaded some tiny, tiny, tiny weeny blue satin ribbon through and tied a bow on part of the trim. Now I'll show you what's inside this little bassinet. It's a beautiful, actually that is like a flannelette blanket with a turned back white sheet with beautiful lace trim and a little tiny pillow. Let me see if I can get that out for you. And it matches the little coverlet, but there it is, a tiny pillow which is white with beautiful white gathered lace and the smallest, tiniest bows you've ever seen in the corners. It's a bit annoying with the camera. Come on, camera. See what happens if I come up close. Let's see if it can do it. No, it's not going to cooperate. Are you going to? It's because my hand keeps moving probably. Oh, it did for a second there. but I can't hold my hand steady enough. Sorry about that. And I'll show you the baby who normally sleeps in this bassinet. I took the baby out. This is made by another member of our club who does stunning miniatures. It's a teeny weeny little porcelain baby with blonde hair. No clothes on, and it's probably 1 inch, the whole thing. She or he is absolutely adorable. Little bent legs. It's jointed at the arms and legs. The head's all part of it. So I'm not sure if she buys the blank little doll and then does the painting on it. Come on, camera, show everyone. We want them to see how gorgeous this baby is. I'm sure it's because I keep moving. Let me see if I go further away if it would prefer it. No. Sorry, everyone. What about if we try really close? It's got little tiny, perfect blue eyes, little mouth and a little tiny weeny nose and blonde hair. But I'm afraid the camera is not behaving. So that is a real miniature as opposed to a salesman's sample or something made just to be the same as the big one but smaller. I'll just show you this is a little blanket that Dawn made as well. It's knitted in probably 1 ply, and it's probably knitted with the very finest, tiniest needles you've ever seen. There's a pattern in there. It's a white wool, and it's just stunning. And she's put those tiny weeny bows in the middle. When Dawn does this work, she wears 2 pairs of glasses so that she can see what she's doing. She's a quilter and a knitter and an embroiderer and all of that sort of thing, and she makes beautiful miniatures. So the miniatures that Dawn and the other ladies who belong to the Miniatures Club and our club make are all, you have no idea what they make, like teeny weeny teapots and little furniture and little people and costumes and the most beautiful tiny things you've ever seen, and I love them. So that's just a little bit of an example of miniatures versus maybe salesman's samples or just small things, or even, I mean, the pram is an example of just a doll pram, isn't it? So dolls' toys are examples of real things made small, in a smaller scale. There is just one more thing I'd love to show you, and this isn't anything to do with what I've been talking about. This is just something that I love, and I wanted you to see it so that you would know how odd I am. It's just a box. It's just a cardboard or paper box, and I just love this picture. I love this picture. I saw this in Germany and just fell in love with it and scooped it up. It's got a sort of a pink background, and then it's the face of a little girl, and she's got a scarf around. She's probably maybe a year old, and she's got a blue scarf around her head. And there are little flowers painted on the scarf in red and dark blue and a bit of pink. And then the brand underneath which says Falken, Falken. And then some German words underneath that I won't butcher. And then it says something on the end there. Inhalt, 125 grams. And then some code numbers. And on the side, that's what it says in case any of you can read that German. If the camera would even let you look at it. Sorry. It's not so good, is it? And same on the other side, I think. I think that's the same. And then on the end, we've seen that. No, both ends are the same. So isn't that just beautiful? And then look, someone's written something, and it's in European handwriting, I can tell by looking at it. And it's in euros, I think. Hi everyone, sorry about that. My camera decided I'd been talking for too long. I'm not sure where it cut out, but hopefully it cut out at the end when I was just showing you the box to say that both ends had the same writing in both sides. So I just wanted to show you that to give you an idea about my collection, which is a huge mixture of all sorts of things. Anything that I love, if I see something I love, I just get it. Doesn't matter what it is. If I love it, I'll have it. Oh, if I can afford it, you know what I mean. If it doesn't have to be a certain age or a certain category or anything to go in my collection. It just has to be something I love. So I hope you've enjoyed this video that went for far, far, far too long. I'm sorry about that. but I hope it was okay. And something I'd love to know, if you have the energy to tell me after this huge long video, is if I did ask a question before about when your love for dolls started, and it was very interesting. Most of us have always loved dolls as long as we can remember, and I'm wondering if you only are interested in reborns, or do you collect any other sorts of dolls? It seems that we do seem to like other dolls as well, but that might only be a small percentage of us. And I'm sorry if this has been boring, but you never have to watch, so that's fine. It just, if you do enjoy other dolls, I've shown you a few other bits and pieces, other things you can collect. Anyway, I won't talk your ears off any longer, you poor people. That went far too long. Even my camera gave up the ghost. So thank you very much for coming to visit me on this theme Thursday. Oh, yes, it's now nearly 6 o'clock. Goodness me, I can talk. Whoa. I had no idea. It felt like about 5 minutes. Obviously it wasn't. So thank you everyone so much for coming to visit me. I appreciate it so much, and I love it. I love showing you things. I love telling you about my babies and what they're wearing, and I love choosing what they're going to wear and then dressing them up. I tend to do it in front of the television, so if something gets tricky, I've got something to distract me and don't get too frustrated with it, because it is quite tricky just with the use of one hand. But anyway, I've done it again, started to say goodbye and then launched off into another silly subject, so sorry. This time I really will say goodbye, and thank you very much for coming to visit me at Baby Bunting Nursery. My name's Suzanne. Thank you so much everyone, and love to all of you, and take care, and be kind to each other. See you soon. Bye bye.